Welcome to the Horrorcraft Podcast.
Hello, horror fans. It's me, Cass, and
Kylie.
we are in the fourth episode of
Number four.
Horrorcraft Reviews. And one of the most highly anticipated episodes of this series for me, personally. I just drug Kylie along to this, but
I wasn't necessarily obsessed, dying to see this like Cassandra was, but boy, was I happy after I was done watching it because, whoa.
Yeah, so we are talking about Dracula from specifically Dracula Love Tale from Luc Besson. And this movie is coming to theaters soon, but we were so graciously provided with an early screener from Sophia from Pixel Scene Media. And holy shit, bruh. If you are looking for a review that is going to talk negatively about this movie,
you're not going to find it here.
Yeah, this is not the review.
This ain't that. This ain't that.
I knew I was going to love this movie, but the absolute chokehold that this movie is going to have on my life, at least for the next year, should probably be studied. Really, truly.
You guys, I'm not gonna quit hearing about it for at least 2 years.
Yeah, you're not.
We will be doing a full episode on Horrorcraft, a more traditional Horrorcraft deep dive, probably later this year.
Yeah,
I see a birthday episode.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be very hard to not put this for my birthday. Especially because I'm the vampire queen. We all know this. I run the vampire streets of Horrorcraft. But this movie to me is like my Hell House. How Hell House LLC was for Kylie. This is mine. And I will say I had expectations going into this movie. My expectations were blown away. So if you are looking for a vampire movie that is going to add something different, is going to change things up to the vampire narrative, you're not really going to find it in this movie. It is Dracula. It is kind of the story of Dracula, but it does change it up in a way that I feel is fresh and refreshing for 2026. This movie, if you loved Bram Stoker's Francis Ford Coppola's version, this is in essence like a predecessor to the movie, but in a different way. So right off the bat, Dracula, A Love Tale is the best way to put it. Because if you're looking for a movie that's going to go into all the deep moving the mechanisms behind the original Dracula story, that's not this movie. This is Dracula being like, my wife, basically.
Yep. Basically.
This movie, I have watched a lot of people reacting, because for those of you who don't know, this was released last year overseas. It made ripples, tide waves through TikTok. Book Talk leaned onto it. People are just obsessed with it. And that is what then pushed the wave of it being brought into a domestic release. But this is the best argument, I think, for what the female gaze looks like in 2026. And I definitely will have a video where I go into it deeper and talk about it on my own channel. But when we talk about we want a man who yearns,
this is the man that yearns, okay? This is what we want. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, we don't...
the blueprint, so do it.
Yeah. We don't need people throwing themselves out of castles, but...
I mean, we don't need that, but...
But the essence behind it. But this is so beautifully done. So... This movie is Dracula Love Tale. It follows Dracula and his wife, Elizabeta, who are deeply in love. He goes off to fight against the Turks, is a badass in battle, and he asks one thing in return: to keep his wife safe. That request does not happen. And because of that, he rebukes God and starts us on the course for this story. So it starts off where there is a mysterious woman that has been infected by something that we don't know, which turns out to be vampirism. While that is happening, Jonathan Harker arrives to Dracula's castle and is meted by the Count. And he ends up meddling. And when he meddles, he asks one return favor, and it's to find out Dracula's story. And we find out that Dracula has tried to find out his wife for 400 years and has failed. He's let other people do it in his place. He's kind of given up. And then he realizes Jonathan's Mina is his Elizabeta. And so he makes his way over to Paris, not London, Paris in this movie.
Yes.
Which I will say is a top tier choice for switching them. I think it makes more sense for that. And also it's a city of love.
It's the city of love, yeah.
The fact that they tie everything in together with like the World's Fair and all of that happening, like turn of the century type stuff, was really great. But there are so many things that do set this apart from it. Christoph Waltz, who did an incredible job in Frankenstein, once again is just picking up gothic horror accolades at this point. Sorry for me not being able to talk right now. But he is just picking up those trophies when it comes to gothic horror. He's holding it down for this by playing Van Helsing. I will say his character of Van Helsing is absolutely refreshing in this. It is a humanized Van Helsing. But going back to it, the reason that this is such a deeper kind of leveling is it's focused on love. And so like the love between Dracula and Elizabeta, but also just love in general, it has a much nicer version of Van Helsing. Kind of has someone who has more humanity, really. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Kylie? Because I just think I found his character very refreshing.
I did. I loved his character. It was about the love story. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much just about him, being Dracula, a vampire, killing people, living off, their blood. Vampires. I love vampires. It's not 100% like my thing, like yours. So I went into this not really having very many expectations, and I'm not a huge like love story kind of girly. I'm sorry, but this was just it was just so profound. You felt him, and you felt him losing his wife and searching for her and giving up, and you felt that. And the ending, not necessarily the most happiest about the ending, okay, but I just I loved it. It's something that like I would watch regularly. Maybe not as much as you, but
yeah, to be fair, I've watched it as of recording it. I've watched this 7 times now. Because I love it. I really do, but it is, and Van Helsing and Dracula both, I think, can be
love
so.
Christopher Waltz as Van Helsing.
He was just
Abraham
so
Van Helsing.
yeah, he was just so humanizing in this version. Like he never looked. I feel like a lot of times Van Helsing can be propped up as a very pompous character.
Yeah.
He was not. He was very grounded. He never judged Maria.
I know,
Never
like
judged.
you wanted to hate him, but you
Yeah.
couldn't.
And really, truly, he just thought he was doing what was right, which he is in his mind. He was trying to save Vlad's soul, and he was trying to save because he's like, I know that like it was almost this way of like, I know you are deeply hurting, that you have been deeply hurt by the church, but I am here. I will be with you. And I just found that so refreshing. Also, too, like Caleb Landry Jones in this as Dracula, like he is not somebody. He's an attractive man, but him as Dracula, like holy shit, man! Like the voice, the just like yeah, like him being like I'm.
He wasn't
Vlad.
playing Dracula. He was Dracula. Period.
Yeah, and Mina / Elizabeta,
Oh my
her.
god, she was gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, and her like when she's lost in thought or like just they did so much more with their love story in the first 10 minutes of this movie than 90% of the Dracula films that are out there. I'm just going to say it. Like, this is a man who very clearly loved his wife. She loved her husband. And I think what's so different about this is very clearly from the beginning, they dispel a lot of just like vampire lore. Like him, a lot of times the argument with Dracula and Mina is, did he have her under mind control? Like what was going on? And the fact that they kind of took the mind control element out of it and they made it into like a perfume, I thought that was super cool. I loved the whole idea off the bat. She already feels like, even before she meets Dracula, when she's in the hospital talking to Van Helsing and she's saying like, I've kind of had conflicting feelings about being engaged. Like, I don't know if that's the right life for me. And she feels conflicted about it. Like, she already knows that there's a life that she left behind. So there's like no room for error in this. Like, they make it very clear that she recognizes that she was like a reborn soul. And it just makes everything that happens. Then I love the gargoyle aspect of it. I know a lot of people didn't.
I loved them.
I love them so much because instead of having so many people under his control and really having like weird aspects, like the bride aspect and stuff like that, like you never get the sense with him and Maria that like it was something sexual between him. Like he really, like you never get a weird like the brides kind of thing. It's just the gargoyles are like his personal like people that are the eyes in the sky for him. The nun scene, that was insane for me. Like the pile of nuns was just like incredible visually. Yeah. And I also think there's something to be said because a lot of people are like, well, that was just a really weird scene. But like, I feel like it makes sense if you're somebody that really.
It made sense. This was a man who was a man of God who turned on God because his wife died. It was to me, it was very symbolic, because truly, I don't think like if he could go back, this was not what he wanted.
No,
but like
even
well, how would you feel if you lost your husband or wife? You know, it made sense.
Well,
I
and
think
even Elizabeta in the beginning, she's like, why can't we just live in peace like God intended? Like, you get the sense that like, both of them never want him to be in this war. Like, it is something that is put, and it's just, everything about this was so beautifully done. I was not surprised to find out that Danny Elfman was the composer, did the soundtrack behind this, because the music is so beautiful. Loved the element of the music box. When she would turn on the music box, it would play the music and he would come to her. Like, there also is that meme that's going around that girls say, this is my comfort character, and it's just a person with blood. And like, a lot of people are using the image of him like cover. But like, he even says this in this movie, like when she has a nosebleed, contrary to popular belief, I do not like blood, even though yours has a sweet taste to it.
Yeah.
And so like he's saying like, I never wanted any of this, but I would do whatever I needed to do to get you back.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such a human, such a relatable thing. Like, this is, listen, if you're looking for the perfect movie to take your girl to Valentine's Day, but you still want to,
this is it.
Gnarly kill stuff. This is it. This is 100% it. Cause like that scene too, I will say, the one where they come in and Maria is like attacking her fiance, and they like chop off her head and everything. I was gagged at that.
That was pretty gnarly.
Like, that was a gnarly scene. And just like the visual of like all the warriors when they're fighting and they're on the hill, and then the Turks go back into their, like, there's just so many beautiful shots of this. I cried. I'm woman enough to admit I cried multiple times in this movie.
So I really what did. Is your rating?
Listen, take it with a grain of salt, because you're talking to somebody who is a vampire lover and a Dracula lover and a lover of men who yearn. But this to me was a 20 out of 10. Like, everything that I ever thought I wanted in a Dracula, like any gripe, any complaint I had about anything in the Dracula sphere, I feel like there were so many things that were addressed. And it's so surprising to me, because Luc Besson is the one who did The Fifth Element, and he's done so many different projects.
I love The Fifth Element.
Yeah, so it just was surprising to me that he was doing this, but then how just like correctly he came with Dracula. And again, there are going to be a lot of people who are not going to like this movie because it does so eerily resemble Francis Ford Coppola's version. But there's just so many deep moving, I think the way that we lust after the imagery with Coppola's version, where, you know, you have like them like holding on to each other, like the I crossed oceans of time, you know, to be with you. Same way we're going to have these moments, like the imagery of him like falling on her grave and being covered in the snow and only coming out years later. The imagery of him like punching into her coffin and like pulling up like her remains, and then like just all the like them being in the coffin together when they first come back, like the all of it. Like I already have seen the TikTok edits with the like part where he's talking about, you know, you remind me of my wife, and my life has been so troubled. My soul has been so troubled since I lost her. Like, there are so many things that are just so drippingly romantic. And I feel like when you're talking about Gothic romance, this is like top
This is the
tier.
epitome
But
of it. Yeah.
this is the epitome, but it takes everything that you would have loved from the Francis Ford Coppola version and it just focuses on their story. And I feel like that's just so refreshing because, like, the things that we see inside of that story, just having something specifically focused onto it, I think is just so great. And, like, the only thing I would ever say that even, like, just like hits in the same category is the Castlevania Dracula, where, like, it's the Dracula that comes back and finds out that his wife has been murdered and gives them time and then goes absolutely ape shit on them. I feel like those two are kind of in the same batting cage, but to me it was just like, I'm not going to be over it anytime soon. I'm just going to be very clear about it. Like, this is going to be my whole personality for a while. Like, at any time I ever even have an inconvenience in my life, this movie's going to be in the background. I'm just going to say it from there. But, like, it just was so beautifully done. And I think in a time where we're seeing such spectacular takes on movies, this is in, like, the same fighting rank as, like, Sinners and Frankenstein and, like, the pantheon of doing, like, really just justice to it. So, what would your ranking be?
9 out of 10.
I feel like that's solid. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I will say, as your friend, it joyed my heart to hear after you watched this that you liked it.
I did. Yeah. I loved it.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. I would say if you're a fan of the genre, this will just be a 10 out of 10 for you. Be advised, you're probably going to cry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're probably.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to say this. If you watch this movie and you take away from it at any point in time that any of these actors aren't, like, top tier, I'm going to very arguably, like, yeah, I feel like Caleb Landry Jones just has such a, I mean, he already had a great career, but, like, he like, I want to see him in so much more after this. Zoe Blue, I want to see. Christoph Waltz, I mean, like I said, he's just picking up, like, gothic fiction, like Infinity Stones, and I'm really here for it. So, but I loved it. I would definitely say, like, just go in and just enjoy it. Like, this is the closest we're probably going to get. If you grew up in the 90s and you grew up with that Francis Ford Coppola version, this is the closest you're going to get to seeing an epic love story like that on the big screen for a really long time. So please go enjoy it, savor it. I would say this is the perfect plan pre-Valentine's Day. So
definitely,
if you have a goth girl in your life, like, get her the movie when it comes out. If there's any collections that come out with this, this is very easily providing men out there some great just gift ideas. So please roll with that. But yeah, this was just a solid movie. And this movie is Horrorcraft approved, like, wholeheartedly, 100% stamp. So please let us know if you go out and see it, if you liked it, what your favorite parts were, and please share with us if you end up buying tickets. We would love to know that and love to check in with you and see how you felt about the movie. Because, again, this is going to be my whole personality for a while. But we're super excited. Thank you again to Sophia at Strike at the Pixel Scene Media for doing this. I really appreciate you giving us a early screener of this. And I hope to see everybody going to see this movie. So until next time, it's me, Cass.
Kylie.
And we're the Horrorcraft Podcast. And stay spooky and enjoy the castle. Until next time, bye. Bye.